Hello, hello, welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our balance class. Today is session number 2. I'm glad to see some of you have come back, and I know we have some new folks joining us today as well. So this balance series is our low impact and low intensity exercise class. We're going to be starting our class in a seated position, and then we'll move to a standing position, and then end the class again in a seated position. Equipment that you need today would be 2 tissue boxes if you have them, or something around the size of a tissue box. If you don't have any at home, that's okay too. You don't need anything, but if you do have one, grab them. Make sure you have 2 of these. We'll be using them during our step practice today in the class. So as I mentioned earlier, the class is a low impact and a low intensity class, and it's geared towards those who are frequent fallers. So if you're someone who is looking for a higher intensity class, you can check out our Rock Steady Boxing class, which happens on Wednesdays of this month. It is at 2 p.m. on Wednesdays. So if you prefer something that's higher intensity, you can definitely have a look at that class instead, because this balance class will be a lower intensity and slower paced class. If at any point during the class you have any questions, you are welcome to type in the chat box, and I will do my best to answer the questions. Or of course, if you prefer not to type, you can also click on the raise hand button, in which case I can enable your microphone and you can use your voice to to ask questions if you like. Today's class is recorded just like our session from last week, which is already uploaded onto our YouTube channel, which is Parkinson Society BC, all in one word. And today's class will be uploaded in the next few days as well. So if you did want to revisit anything that we've done, you are welcome to do so on the YouTube channel. And of course, the exercises that we did last week, we're going to revisit today, but progress a little bit more. So with every passing week, you'll see familiar exercises that are just made a little bit harder. So that way we can continue to improve our skills. Okay. Well, should we get started? Hopefully you can hear me and see me okay. I think most people have joined in from the waiting room. I don't see anybody stuck joining still. So I think we're good to go. I will move back to my chair. And for those who have just joined and you maybe missed the spiel at the beginning, you need 2 tissue boxes if you have them. If you don't, that's fine as well. Any object that will not roll will do the job. We're gonna try stepping over the tissue box. Okay, let me move back and then we can get started. Hopefully you're sitting in a chair that is not going to roll away from you. So no chairs with wheels at the bottom like that. And make sure that you're sitting somewhere where you have room and you're not going to hit your arms on anything. Okay. We're going to start marching on the spot. Make sure we're sitting forward in our chair, so no one should be like this. You want to sit forward in the chair, nice and tall through the spine, stacking your spine, your ribs on top of your hips. Marching on the spot, lifting those knees nice and high, swinging the arms as well, trying to stay tall as you are marching. Now, if anything I'm doing in the class feels a little too fast, not to worry, you are welcome to slow it down. So this marching is too fast. You keeping your chest up, spine nice and long. Keep marching. Make sure those arms are swinging behind you just as much as they're swinging forward, okay? So don't let the arms just do this. Now we're going to keep the same marching pattern, except this time we are going to go out, out, in, out, out, in. So you're going to keep switching the legs, out and in, out and in. And you can keep swinging the arms as you're doing this. Sitting up nice and tall still. No one should be slouching in their chair. Keep the arms swinging. They're going back just as much as they're going forward. You're still trying to lift those knees as high as you can. Going out, out, in, in. Nicely done. Just warming up the arms and legs before we get going. So because it is a balance class, the main chunk of the class is going to be done in standing, and there are no seated modifications, but of course you're welcome to hold on to a chair, a table, whatever you've got around you to keep yourself safe and supported during the class. But we do want to be simulating real life environments, so we do want to be standing for the class. Okay, now we're going to do some heel digs. So you're going to tap those heels forward and you're going to push the arms forward as well, like so. So you're stretching those fingertips, spreading them nice and wide, tapping the heels forward. Make sure you're still sitting up nice and tall. No one should be like this. Sitting nice and tall over your sit bones. Nicely done. Let's go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we're going to tap out to the side and open the arms up. So you're tapping the toes out to the side. You're still sitting nice and tall and you're spreading those fingers nice and wide, reaching the arms to the side. Keeping your spine nice and long, sitting nice and tall as we're doing this. So remember, you are welcome to slow it down if that's too fast. You're welcome to slow it down, absolutely fine. Just warming up the arms and legs before we get going with the main portion of this balance class. Nicely done. Nice and tall, no leaning back in your chair. Reaching those arms, spread those fingertips. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. We're going to dig the heel forward and we're going to circle the opposite arm to leg up and back. So imagine you're scooping something off the floor in front of you. You're using the opposite arm to the leg. You should feel a little bit of a stretch at the back of the thigh as you're doing this. Hinge forward at the hips. You're scooping something off the floor. Make sure you're sitting forward in your chair. Otherwise, you're going to find it very difficult to hinge forward at the hips. Let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. And sitting up nice and tall, we're going to float those arms up into a T shape, spread those fingers, and we're going to dip down to the side. Noticing here that I'm not just going like this with my arms, right? I'm moving my entire body to the side. So technically my arms are staying in one position. It's my body that's tipping to the side. So we're not just moving the arms. And you want to think about your shoulder reaching towards the floor here. Really push your trunk to the side, holding here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up, drop the arms for a second, float them back up. Same to the other side. You're tipping down to the side. Make sure it's not just the arms, but your entire body going down to the side, spreading those fingers nice and wide for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, One coming up, drop the arms. You're going to take your hand and you're going to hold on to the outside of the opposite knee. Then your other hand is going to wrap around the back of the chair, grab onto the chair. Using your arms, you're going to rotate yourself around such that you're looking at the back wall. And as we're doing this rotation stretch, it's really important that we're not then slouching into our chair. You're thinking about growing taller, crown of the head, reaching for the ceiling as you're rotating around. So your spine is kind of like a corkscrew. You're rotating on the spot. You're not getting shorter. You're not getting taller. You're rotating on the spot here. And then we come back to the middle. Same to the other side. Take your hand to reach the opposite knee. The other hand is going to wrap around the chair and you're going to pull yourself around. Make sure you're not slouching in your chair. Crown of the head reaching for the ceiling, holding it here. See how far you can go. Nicely done. Coming back to the middle. One more on each side. Holding on to the opposite knee. Other hand reaching around the chair. Pull yourself around in this rotation stretch. See if you can go further than you did the first time. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back to the middle. Last time, other side, grabbing hold of the opposite knee. Then the other hand is wrapping around the chair, pulling yourself around in this rotation stretch. Crown of the head reaching the ceiling. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back to the middle. Stay where you are. I'm going to turn my chair sideways so you can see me. So now we are going to practice our sit to stands. So we're going to be standing up for the next portion of the class. And to get us up from a seated position, what we don't want to do is we don't want to be pushing the back of our legs into the chair to then help us stand up. And we also don't want to do this. We're pulling on something to help us stand up. We want to use our legs. And we want to distribute our weight over our base of support, in other words, our feet, so that we can stay balanced as we stand up. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to shuffle to the front of the chair. So don't let yourself be back here, okay? You want to sit forward all the way to the front of the chair, almost like you're about to perch on the edge here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring our body forward over our feet, almost like you're trying to get your entire weight, almost your feet. Someone's pulling you forward by the shirt. And you want to move your weight so far over your feet that your bottom lifts off the chair. And then from here, you're going to push the floor away from you to stand up nice and tall, balancing over your feet. And then we're going to do the same thing in reverse to sit down. You're going to bend your knees, hinge forward at the hips, but I'm keeping my weight over my feet. So you can see as I'm coming down, my weight is equally distributed over my feet. So I'm balanced. I'm balanced over my feet, and then I'm going to lower my bottom and sit down. And I'm going to do the same thing again. So the aim here is we're doing this nice and slow. So I don't want to see anyone do this using momentum to stand up. We want to use this controlled technique of bringing our weight over our base of support before we then push to stand. And then on the way down, exactly the same. You're putting your weight over your base of support with control to sit. So join me here if you haven't already. You're going to do some sit to stands, nice and slow in your own time. And I want you to try not to use momentum, not to use your arms to pull yourself up. I really want you to think about that technique of keeping your weight over your base of support the entire time. So don't let your feet be so far forward that we're having really tough time getting our weight forward. Or if your feet are too far back, you're going to fall forward. So you want to bring your body over your feet such that you're balanced. And then you're going to push the floor away from you, squeeze those bum cheeks in to stand nice and tall. And then, of course, reverse, exactly the same. Keep your weight over your feet. Don't let yourself swing back. Don't let yourself fall back. Okay, keep going. I think I see a comment. Keep going. Oh, getting quite a bit of freezing. Okay, my internet might be a little slow. I'm not sure, but hopefully you're still able to follow the class. Let me know if you're still having issues with the freezing. The class is recorded today, so worst comes to worst, it will be on a YouTube channel in a couple days' time. I know the internet's been a little bit fluctuating in terms of its strength recently. Keep going. Nice and slow and controlled with the sit to stand. Try not to use momentum. Don't pull yourself up using your arms. You want to be nice and controlled, nice and slow in your sit to stand and your stand to sit. Really think about keeping your weight over your feet at all times. You're staying balanced, keeping your center of gravity over your base of support the entire time to help you stay balanced. How are we getting on? How are we doing? Hopefully you're starting to get the hang of it, nice and slow. And of course, if you're finding this way too easy, you are welcome to bring 1 foot back, 1 foot forward, so that you're biasing that back leg when you are doing the stand, and then eventually, maybe on one leg. But for now, if that's too easy on both legs, you're welcome to bias your feet by having one further forward, so you're using that back leg to push up. And the same on the way down. But you don't have to, it's up to you. You can bias your legs. If you are doing that version, make sure you're doing both sides and not just one. Or you can keep doing both feet together, up to you. We're going to do 4 more here in your own time. So do 4 more in your own time. Make sure they're nice and controlled. And then on the last one, you're going to stay standing. Remember, nice and controlled, don't rush it. Don't use your arms to pull yourself up. Use your legs to push yourself up instead. So when you are finished your 4, make sure you stay standing for that last one. So this is my last one here. And I'm going to stay standing. Okay, so when you've done your last one, stay standing. I'm just grabbing my tissue boxes here. Okay, so first exercise we're going to do, similar to last time. So when you're doing this exercise, you're welcome to have a chair beside you or 2 chairs to hold on to if you need. But this exercise is similar to last time where we step over the tissue box, except today we're putting a tissue box in front and a tissue box behind. Let me actually turn sideways. So this is the side view. So I've got a tissue box in front and a tissue box behind. So you can hold on if you need. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my leg. So choose one side to start with. We're going to do one side first, okay? So you're going to take your leg, lift up nice and high, step over the tissue box. Then I'm going to use that same leg to push myself back and step back behind the tissue box. Same thing again. Push, step forward, push, step back. So 2 tissue boxes, push, step forward, push, step back. You can hold on if you need. Now, you're trying your best not to put your foot down in the middle before you move to the other side. So as you come back, you want to try not to put your foot on the ground before moving back. So you want to go from this position straight to this position and then straight to this position. And you'll notice that my supporting leg, the leg that's not moving, I'm kind of rocking on it, kind of shifting my weight to the front of the foot, then to the back of the foot. So I'm not keeping my torso completely still and just doing this with my leg. I'm physically stepping on that foot and then physically stepping on that foot. So we're practicing transferring our weight forward and back. So part of balance training is you want to do a lot of weight shifting, multi-directional stepping, turning, pivoting type exercises to challenge yourself to keep maintaining your center of gravity, so your body, over your base of support, your feet, at all times. So that way you're staying balanced. And so when you're doing this exercise, don't be afraid to step on the leg. You're not trying to keep your body as still as possible like this. You're trying to transfer your weight forward, transfer your weight back. So you're lifting the feet nice and high. Try not to step on those tissue boxes if you can. But of course, if you don't have tissue boxes, you don't need to have a target on the floor. You can just do this stepping motion on its own. But of course, with physical target like the tissue box, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to kind of see where your feet are going. Although it's a little harder to do because you're trying not to physically step on the tissue box, but it will give you the most benefit for this exercise if you did have something to physically step over. So we're still doing one side, right? You're stepping forward, stepping back. You can hold on if you need. Stepping forward, stepping back. So you're practicing pivoting on the supporting leg. You're transferring your weight forward, transfer your weight backwards. And the backwards might be the more challenging one here because you'll probably feel that when you step back, it's almost like you're staggering back rather than actively choosing to step back. But keep trying this movement here. I really want you to feel that transferring of weight going forward and then going back. And you're nice and strong, nice and balanced through this exercise. You're moving your trunk, your center of gravity over your feet, moving your trunk over your feet. Nicely done. And of course, you don't have to do it at the same speed I'm doing. You're welcome to do it slower. But what I don't want to see is you go like this super fast, because then if you're going super fast, you're probably not getting the most out of this transferring of weight. You want to really feel that foot planted firmly onto the floor before you move on to the next position. If this is way too challenging for you, don't worry. You are welcome to put your foot down in the middle before you then go back. Same thing on the way forward again. You're going to put your foot down in the middle and then you go forward. So it's up to you. You can either skip the middle altogether and transfer your weight directly from position to position, or you can put your foot down in the middle to catch your balance and then back again. Put your foot down in the middle to catch your balance and then again. So it's entirely up to you. Let's do two more. Wherever you are on this side, you're doing two more and then we're switching legs. Really feel that transferring the weight forward and backward. And when you're done, your two, switch to the other side. So same thing here. Other leg, step forward, step back. You're putting weight onto that leg. You're physically stepping forward and physically stepping back. Now, same as before, you can hold on to something for a bit of extra balance, or you can put your foot down in the middle before moving to the next position, putting your foot down in the middle before moving on the next position. It's entirely up to you. But you want to make sure you're nice and controlled here. So we don't want to be falling into each position, but we want to step, plant that foot down, plant that foot down. So you're feeling this shifting of weight going forward and back. You're supporting leg just like before. You're kind of pivoting. You're transferring the weight to the front of the foot then the back of the foot, and your trunk is staying balanced in between your legs, in between your base of support at all times. So don't be afraid to move the body back and then move it forward, because if you keep your body in the middle and you're just moving your leg, you're not really getting this kind of balance challenge. You want to step forward, step back. We want the body to move with us. Move with us. Nicely done. So remember, you're welcome to put the foot down in the middle. And of course, the further away your tissue box is, the more challenging, because the bigger step you have to take. So if this is quite challenging already, you are welcome to bring your tissue boxes a little closer. So that way you're not having to move as far. Same thing, you can put the foot down in the middle and then move back as well. And of course, you're welcome to hold on to something. It's up to you. Shifting your weight over your feet. Shifting your weight over your feet. You can ignore the arms for now and just practice moving the body, moving the legs. We'll add in arms in the coming weeks. But for now, I just want you to feel this kind of shifting of weight, planting your foot down on the floor, planting your foot down on the floor with control. So everything you do in this class, you want to do it because you're choosing to do it and not because gravity is pulling you down in a certain way. We want to actively move and choose the direction that we're moving and control every movement. So remember, this class is our lower impact, lower intensity class, targeting those who are frequent fallers. So if this class is too easy for you, or if it's not the class you're quite looking for, that's okay. You are welcome to have a look at some of our other class listings, but just bear in mind that this class is intended for people who are frequent followers, so we can practice some of these balance agility type movements. Okay, you're gonna do 3 more on this side in your own time. And then when you're finished with your 3, we'll move on to our next exercise. Really feeling that shifting of weight, planting your foot on the floor, planting your foot on the floor. Nicely done, everybody. Good, okay. When you're done your 3, you can move one of the tissue boxes so that you only have one on the floor. So this time, we're going to stand to the side of the tissue box. Now, you're of course welcome to hold on to something in front or beside you if you need. I'm just moving my chair aside because I think it's a little distracting. You might not be able to see me very much if the chair's in the way. So I'm standing sideways to the tissue box, which is here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to step to the side over the tissue box and reach my arms up. So I'm going to step to the side and do a bit of a squat over the tissue box, reaching my arms. And then my other leg is going to push in, and I'm standing upright again. So same thing, other side, I'm stepping over the tissue box and I'm squatting down in the middle. I'm reaching those arms, spreading the fingers and pushing up. Same to the other side. So we're going to keep repeating this, stepping out and in. And you want to step out as far as you can, stepping out, stepping in. And the goal here is you're lifting the legs up as high as you can over the tissue box. If you're holding on, that's fine too. So imagine if I had something on either side to hold on to, that's fine. You don't have to do the arm reach portion if you're holding on to something. But the idea of this is we're now traveling sideways. So we traveled forward and backwards a second ago. Now we're traveling sideways and we're squatting down in the middle. So we're adding a bit of a squat in the middle, then I'm lifting my leg and coming across the tissue box. What you don't want to do is this. So as soon as you step over, you don't want to just step your other foot over. You want to control it, pause in the middle, and then bring the other leg over. I know it's tempting sometimes to bring your second leg over right away, and you do this and you step over right away. But we want to stay in this position for just a second or two, And then you choose to lift that leg back in. And of course, the further away you put your tissue box and the further away you step, the more challenging it's going to be. You want to be lifting your leg as high as you possibly can to then step over to the side. So you can hold on to something if you need, but you're trying not to step on the tissue box, and we're trying to avoid this where we kind of go around the tissue box. You want to go over the tissue box, and then on the way back in, you're pushing that leg back in, right? So I'm stepping out to the side, I'm pushing the leg back in. So I'm not going to do this to come back, but I'm pushing to come back in. So just like before, we're moving our trunk, our center of gravity over our base of support. In this case, because my legs are now wide, my base of support is going to be this entire thing. So I'm keeping my weight in the middle, and then I'm pushing, keeping my weight in the middle. So you're basically keeping your weight in the middle of your feet at all times. And because your feet are moving, so is your body. So don't let yourself be in the middle like this and you're hanging on for dear life. You want to get your body moving from side to side. Get your body moving from side to side. Nicely done. So holding onto the chairs or reaching, opening the fingers with the arms, up to you. Make sure you're doing the squat in the middle and you're pausing for a second or two, and then you're bring your leg in. So don't let yourself do this, even though it can be tempting at times. Keep going. Let's do 4 more. Wherever you are, do 4 more in your own time. Really think about that shifting of weight to the middle of your base of support at all times. Nicely done. Okay, when you've done your 4, you're going to move the tissue box out of the way. And I'm going to bring my chair back. So last time, we practiced turning on the spot. Don't know if you remember, we practiced turning on the spot last time. And I had 2 chairs here as targets. You don't have to use 2 chairs, but I'm using this as a bit of a visual target. So you're going to face one chair like so. The other chair is behind you. And then what you're going to do here is you're going to turn on the spot to face the other chair. So you're turning 180 degrees on the spot to face the other chair. And then you're going to do the same thing back to face your other chair. Like that. Okay? Now, as you're marching, you are lifting those knees nice and high, and you're swinging the arms. The arms are not just going forward, but the arms are also going back. The arms are also going back as you're turning on the spot. And it's important we're turning on the spot and we're not stepping out and then moving back in. You want to turn on the spot, which means your feet are kind of pivoting on the spot a little bit. And then to make your life even more difficult as you're turning, you want to try to turn around in 6 steps or less. So like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or ideally, if you can do less than that, you can do 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, even better. But I do want you to stay on the spot as you're doing this turning here. Hopefully you've already started and you're joining me here. You're turning on the spot. You're not stepping away to then come back, but you're turning on the spot. So you're staying upright, kind of pivoting on the spot here. And you're lifting those knees nice and high, trying to turn around in 4 steps, ideally, if you can. But if not, aim for 6. Basically, the lower the step count, the better. Make sure you're swinging the arms as you're doing this movement, turning on the spot. If it's very difficult for you to lift your leg, think about stomping the floor. Think stomping the floor. Marching on the spot. 4 steps if you can. If not, aim for 6. Hopefully you're not getting too dizzy. Nicely done. Let's do 4 more. Wherever you are, do 4 more of these turns on the spot in your own time. And then we'll move on to the next thing. Try not to hold on if you can. And when you've done your 4, you're going to keep one chair. And we're going to practice our floor kneels. Okay, so last week we spoke about how when you fall on the floor, if you're not hurt, you want to try to get up from the floor using a technique called backwards chaining, which basically just means the opposite of you getting onto the floor. And so last time we started that a little bit by doing our single knee kneels. So it looked like this. This is what we did last time. We held onto a chair and we stepped back and we brought one knee down onto the floor. So we kneeled down onto the floor. But of course, if you've got knee pain issues or for some reason you can't get down to the floor, that's okay too. What you're going to do is you're going to step back and just bend those knees as far as you feel you're able to, getting that knee as close to the ground as you're able to. And then we're doing the same thing on the other side, a single knee and coming back up, or if you can't touch the knee to the floor, get as close as you can. Okay, that's what we did last time. So today we're adding on a little bit. And instead of the single knee to the floor, we're going to do a double knee. So we're going to do one knee onto the floor, then the other knee onto the floor, then one leg up, push, other leg up. Okay, so same thing on the other side. Knee down onto the floor, knee down onto the floor, foot up, push up. Okay, so we go down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up. Now, if you're having issues with that and you can't get the knees onto the floor, you're welcome to put some pillows on the floor if it makes it more comfortable for your kneecaps, or you can stick to doing the single knee, still trying to work towards getting that knee as close to the ground as you can. Now, trick of the trade. If your foot is too close and it's like this, if you didn't step back far enough and then you try to bend your knees, you're never going to get to the floor because your leg would just get stuck on the chair. So you need to get the foot stepping back even further so that when you do bend your knees, you have room and you can actually get that knee to the floor. So if you find that your legs are getting tangled, they're kind of getting stuck on each other like this, it probably means you need to get that leg further back, okay? So you can either stay here doing the single knee or the leg hovering if you can't get it to the floor, or you can join me here and do the down, down, up, up, alternating the knees. Important thing is pushing up. And then the next couple of weeks when we're doing this class, we'll try to progress this even more so that hopefully by the end of the 4 weeks, you get a full sequence of the backwards chaining, which basically just means you're then getting onto the floor after our double knee, and then you're coming back up to simulate if you were to fall and you're not injured and you're able to get yourself up. Okay, keep going, keep practicing. Make sure whatever you're holding on to is something you can grip. So back of a chair is great, a table corner might be great, or maybe not a corner, a table edge would be great. But things that might not be so great might be a wall, because the wall, it's very vertical and it can be slippery if you're just putting your hands on it and you're trying to pull yourself up. So it might be better if you're holding on to something you can actually grip. And it's important that when you are lowering down to the floor, you're not crashing down, right? So you're not crashing your kneecaps down into the floor. You're doing this with control, okay? So no crash landing, controlled onto the floor. Use the strength of your legs to help, and your arms are to support your balance. Nicely done. So you don't have to do this at the same speed I'm doing. You're welcome to take your time. And of course, if it feels better for your knees to have pillows underneath them, please feel free to do so. You don't need to do it on the bare floor. You can have a mat or some cushions to help you with making the knees feel a bit more comfortable. But of course, you're welcome to also not get the knees to the floor. You can just do the single knees as we did last time as well. You can work your way towards it. Nicely done, everybody. Remember, it's at your own speed. It doesn't have to be matching anybody else's speed. You'll probably notice, just like before, when we talked about transferring our weight over our base of support, the same kind of goes for getting on and off the floor here. Because if we keep our weight really still, it's going to be really tough for you to free up your legs to actually move. But if you shift your weight over to that supporting leg, shift the weight over to the supporting leg, it makes things a lot easier. Let's do 2 more in your own time. 2 more, and then we'll give this one a rest. Okay, when you finish your 2, you can have a stand up, shake those legs out. We're now going to do a little bit of a backward stepping practice. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start with the hands together like last time, and we're going to circle the arm back. My arms are a little cut off. Let me turn sideways. I'm going to circle the arm back, same leg steps back, and then coming forward. Now to the other side. Circle the arm back, same leg steps back, and then comes forward. And as you're doing the circle motion, you want to let your eyes follow the direction that your hand is traveling. So you're adding in your head, which makes it a little more challenging because then we're putting more weight on that back leg. But just like we mentioned before, you're choosing to step back. You're not falling back, right? You're choosing to step back. You're bringing your center of gravity over the base of support, and then you're moving yourself back, forward again. You're putting your weight forward again. If you're choosing to shift your weight back, then shift your weight forward. We're not falling, right? We're controlling the movement here. Nicely done, controlling the movement. Nicely done. We're going to do 4 more here, and then we're going to move on a little bit. So 4 in your own time. And then when you've done your 4, what you're going to do here is you're going to walk backwards around your room. So around the space that you have, you're going to walk backwards and you're going to take nice big steps. And as you're walking backwards, so you can do this in any way you like, you're walking in the space that you've got here. And as you're walking backwards, you're thinking about what we talked about before with shifting our center of gravity over our base of support. We're not falling back, but we're choosing to move and plant our foot onto the floor as we take a step back. You're walking backwards around the room. I know I'm just pacing into space here because otherwise you can't see me, but you can walk in any direction you like. You can go diagonal, you can go across the room, but you're practicing walking backwards. You can hold on to things if you need, but I want you to step back as far as you can. So I don't want to see this, right? We're not shuffling our feet on the floor. You're thinking about that tissue box being behind you again, like we practiced, and you're taking a big step back. And you're practicing being able to shift your weight back over your base of support without you then shuffling and then falling back, okay? So imagine that tissue box is behind you, and with every step, you're stepping over that tissue box, planting your foot firmly onto the floor, shifting your weight back. You're choosing to shift your center of gravity back over your base of support. Nicely done. I know we're doing lots of backwards things today. Imagine that tissue box. You're physically choosing to step back. We're not falling back. We're not shuffling. We're stepping back over that imaginary tissue box, moving our center of gravity over our feet. Nicely done. You can hold on to something if you need, but hopefully we're not doing this and shuffling back. You want to keep your weight over your feet at all times. So none of this. You're keeping your weight over your feet, choosing to step that foot back. Okay. When you're ready, we're going to come back to our chair. We're going to stand right in front of our chair and we're going to practice our slow sit, just like we did at the beginning. You're keeping your weight over your base of support, keeping your weight over your feet. We're not falling back, we're controlled, we're balanced. And then we're going to lower our bottom into the chair to sit. I'm going to turn to face you. And in sitting, we're going to bring one leg out and then the other leg out. And you're going to take your hands and you're going to put it on your inner thigh. You're going to push your legs away from you and you're going to hinge forward in order to feel a stretch in the inner thigh. So from the side, it looks like this. Hands pushing the legs away from you. And then you're hinging forward at the hips. So that way you can feel a stretch on the inner thighs. And we're going to hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, coming back in. We're extending one leg out in front of us, sitting tall, hinge forward at the hips. You're going to take your hands. You can reach your knee, your shin, your foot, whatever you can reach, but you're keeping your spine long and you're hinging forward at the hips, and you should feel that stretch on the back of that thigh. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming back up. Same to the other side. Straightening the leg, and you're going to hinge forward at the hips, keeping the spine long. And you can reach your knee, your shin, your foot, whatever you can reach. And we're holding the stretch here. Hopefully you feel it on the back of the thigh. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming back up. I'm going to turn to face you. We're going to do a thigh stretch now. Of course, with the thigh stretch, if you're someone who is able to stand and hold on to your foot, great. Or if you can't hold on to your foot, you can put your foot on the chair behind you, same thing. But we can also do this in sitting. So you're going to turn to the diagonal a little bit in your chair. And the front knee here, you're going to drop that knee towards the floor. So drop that kneecap towards the floor, so it's pointing down. And then you're going to lean back in your chair and push your hips forward. And you should feel a stretch in the thigh here. And we're going to hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sitting back up. Same to the other side, turning on a diagonal. Dropping that front knee towards the floor, so point it down to the floor. And you're going to lean back in the chair. Just make sure you're not going to fall off the chair. If you're on a diagonal, you're leaning back into the chair and you're pushing the hip forward, holding that stretch in the thigh for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming back up. We're going to float those arms up into a T shape, and just like we did at the beginning, we're going to reach down to the side, try to get that shoulder towards the floor. See if you can go further than you did at the beginning. Maybe you're a little bit more flexible now. We're going to hold the stretch for 5, 4, 3, 2, One, coming back to the middle, drop the arms, same to the other side, float the arms up, tipping down to the side, thinking about the shoulder towards the floor, holding this position for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, coming back up. Let me just turn sideways for a second. You stay where you are. Now, I'm going to get you to lean back in your chair. You're going to slouch a little bit. This is the only time you tell me to do that. We're leaning back into the chair, slouching a little bit. And then we're going to bring the hands up behind the ears, like so, opening the arms. And then I'm going to arch it back over the chair. Just be careful not to tip the chair, but you're arching back over the chair. And you should feel a stretch in that back in your chest, maybe holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, coming back up. Drop the arms for a second. We're going to do one more. Same thing, you're leaning back in the chair, slouching a little bit. Bring the hands back behind the ears. Open the elbows away from each other. Then you're going to arch back over the chair. Open that chest, look up the ceiling, holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And sitting back up in the middle. And last bit, we're going to sit forward, feet planted firmly into the floor. And you're going to do a big sweeping motion, almost like you're gathering something up from the floor. Breathe in, reach up overhead, and breathe out. One more. Scooping in, breath in. And breath out. And you are done. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the balance exercise class session 2. The class is recorded, so if you do need to revisit anything, you are welcome to do so on our YouTube channel in a couple of days' time. So remember, this class is a low impact, low intensity class, and it's a slower paced class, so it is targeting frequent fallers. So if this is not the class you're looking for, you are welcome to check out some of our other classes. But I hope that this class is challenging for some of you, and you are welcome to review the exercises again through the YouTube channel. And as the weeks go on, we will progress a bit more and make things more challenging. But the whole point of this balance class is we're trying to get you to step in multiple different directions, get you to move in different directions, get you to turn, pivot, all of these things. So thank you very much, everybody. We really appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Wonderful, thank you. Oh, I see some hands up. Okay, first up, Neil, you are welcome to unmute your microphone if you have a question. Oh.
Hello, Shelley.
Hi, Neil.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Trying to get my balance back here. Hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah. So I lost
Have
my
you?
balance.
Oh.
Working on.
Have you got a question, Neil?
No. I'll do those exercises missed last week. I'll see how it goes.
Wonderful. Great to hear, Neil. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay, next up, we have someone else with a hand up. Oh, no. Okay, so I think it's Tim. Oh, Patricia's come back. Okay. Patricia, go ahead.
Just fantastic.
Hi. Oh, this is Tim, is it? Hi. Thank you.
Glad to see you.
Good to see you. How's it going?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Good. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that it's helpful.
Thank you very kindly.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay.
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 Hi, Patricia.
Here I am again. Thank you, Shelley, very much.
You're very welcome.
I was a bit mixed up last week, so can I see last week's program on YouTube as well?
Yes, Absolutely. So if you go on the YouTube channel, the Parkinson's channel is all in one word, Parkinson Society BC, and you'll see it come up. And the video is, if you click on videos, it should be one of the ones at the very beginning because it was recently added in.
Okay, I followed you a lot last year before I fell and broke my hip, so.
Oh no,
I'm
gosh.
back. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Good to see you back, Patricia. I'm glad you're keeping at it.
Okay, thanks very much, Shelley. It's really good.
You're very welcome. Bye. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. See you all next week. Feel free to reach out if you've got any questions. Bye.